And now we're here in the kitchen with Chef Brandy, and we're gonna cook with black beans. What are we gonna make?
Today, we're gonna show you how to make some black bean nacho stuffed sweet potatoes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, it's a great hearty meal, and it's something that the whole family likes at my house anyway.
All right.
We just put a little bit of oil that I drizzled on top of each potato and rubbed that in. And now we're gonna go put those in the oven.
All right, 400 degrees?
400 degrees,
For an hour.
yes, for an hour, yes.
All right.
All right, so now while those are in the oven, we are going to make some of the fun toppings that are gonna go on the baked sweet potatoes. So here we have some beautiful diced fresh tomatoes, and I have some avocado. So we're gonna make fresh salsa, and we're also going to make a really quick and easy guacamole.
All right.
So we'll start with the salsa. So we've got the tomatoes in the bowl, and some of the things that we're gonna add in there are a little bit of some jalapeno. We're gonna do a little bit of sea salt, red onion, and I've got some apple cider vinegar. That's kind of our little trick at the shop, is we like the apple cider vinegar in the fresh salsa. And then I've got some fresh herbs. We've got both cilantro right there, and we've got some Italian flat leaf parsley. All right, so now we're just going to mix that up. And now we'll make some really quick guacamole. So we have some lime here, and you could squeeze it by hand, or you can use one of these handy little lime squeezers. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so we've got that. And I've got a little bit of seasoning. And once again, we're gonna do some cilantro. And I'm actually gonna steal a couple scoops of our salsa.
Nice.
And put in the guacamole. And now just with, and then just with a fork, this is nice and what I call just rustic style. So it can be chunky. Just kind of get in there.
It's so wonderful fresh, and that really brings
Absolutely.
a fabulous flavor.
Just like that.
Terrific.
So we'll set that aside, and now I'm gonna show you how we make the black bean and sweet corn part that's gonna be the filling for the baked sweet potatoes.
All right, and this is already warm.
This is already warm, so we're gonna put just a little bit of olive oil in our hot pan, just like that. And we're gonna add in some black beans.
Already cooked black beans.
Yep, already cooked, ready to go. We've also got some sweet corn. All right, and we're gonna, basically all we're trying to do with this part is just warm it up, so it doesn't have to be on the stove for a super long time. Once this gets fully heated through, I like to add, once again, kind of with the different textures, is a little bit of our red onion over here to this. So that's not gonna be cooked, and we don't have to add a lot, but just a little bit of that. And then once again, a little bit of that fresh cilantro. It's gonna add a lot of flavor.
Wonderful.
And we'll just season that really simply with a little bit of sea salt. All right, so we'll stir this up. Just gonna go ahead and cut through that like that. Since that does not have any seasoning on the inside, I like to just do a little bit of a sprinkle of sea salt, and then we're gonna go back to this filling that we made, and we're gonna spoon that in first. And then we're gonna go ahead and top it with a spoonful of our fresh salsa. And if you were a meat eater and wanted your meat in this dish, you could add that in addition to the vegetables we already have here. That would be perfectly fine. All right, now we're gonna do a little scoop of our beautiful guacamole.
Perfect dish. That is delicious and so healthy. And again, so many different flavor profiles coming together with the sweet potatoes and the beans and corn.
Yep.
But then that fresh burst from the tomato and the guac, that's beautiful. Brandy, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
All right, when we decided we were cooking with black beans, I did not expect you to bring a dessert recipe, but that's what we have.
That's what we're doing.
So what are we making?
We are going to make some turtle brownies that have black beans in them.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is, not only do they have black beans in them, this is a gluten-free recipe, this is a refined sugar-free recipe.
Correct.
And it's a vegan recipe.
Yes.
So this is gonna be
It
fascinating.
is fun. Yeah, we're gonna have fun
Right.
making these. So I'm excited to show you how we do this. So a lot of these ingredients that are sitting out here right now, we're going to get started by making the batter in our food processor.
Okay.
So the first thing we're gonna do is make our flax eggs. So here I have the flax meal that's already ground, and that goes in the food processor. And then we just pour the water that's already pre-measured.
All right, and this is a common replacement for an egg, although
Yes.
it maybe doesn't seem very intuitive. How does it work?
So there's a basic recipe. You can look it up and see what 1 egg equals flax meal plus water.
Okay.
And all you do is exactly what we're doing right now. They just blend together. And then what happens is as it sits with the water, the flax kind of gels up and it makes like an egg-like consistency, and it works perfectly as a binder in recipes. So now we're gonna open this up and we're gonna add some of our other ingredients. So we'll just go ahead and add the black beans first.
And you've made a lot of different desserts with black beans. What do you think makes black beans good for this kind of application?
I feel like they just, especially when there's been like black bean brownies of all varieties with the cocoa powder that gets added, they just have that perfect, the color, and it adds a nice richness to the recipe. And the texture, as you'll see when we blend it, just makes a nice, creamy, smooth texture. And they just work perfectly. And most of the time, no one even knows that they're in there. So you also get a little bit of the protein and the health factor.
Right,
So,
great.
So we've got the black beans, and we can just kind of dump a lot of this in at once. We got cocoa powder. This is coconut sugar.
Okay.
So this is a not refined sweetener. And then the other sweetener in this recipe is pure maple syrup. I already melted this. This is coconut oil.
Okay.
So we'll dump that in there. And then we've got our baking powder and our vanilla. So at this point, when it's nice and smooth, that's when we're gonna add in the part of the recipe that makes it the turtle. So we've got some pecans, and these are not toasted, they're just chopped. Yep,
Okay.
so we'll add those in there. And then these are vegan chocolate chips.
And of course, you could use whatever kind
You
of
could,
chocolate chip.
absolutely. And then this is some unsweetened coconut. And now we're just gonna put this back on, and this time we're just gonna pulse it instead of run it, and we're just gonna kind of mix that stuff down into the batter until it's all incorporated. All right, so at this point, we are going to scoop this into our prepared pan.
All right, and you sprayed the cupcake liners, which I think is a stroke of genius, and I can't believe I've never thought of that.
Well, they just come off so easily.
Yeah.
If you do that, you don't have any problem. And we sprayed this with coconut oil spray, but you could use any spray that you have. So.
All right.
So I'm going to use this scooper and just go ahead and do one nice size scoop.
Do they expand much?
Yes, they do. Yep, they'll come up to the top when they're done. And I'm gonna show you how we top these. So the first thing that we do is I'm gonna spoon some of this deliciousness over the top of each one.
What is that deliciousness?
So this is called date caramel, and I just wanted to show you, we're not gonna make it right now, but I'll show you how we do it, and that's using these dates right here. These are medjool dates. They're the really soft, sticky ones like that. So you just take the pit out in the middle, and then we just put them in the food processor, and however many dates you have, you just add some hot water to it, and you would just run it in your food processor, and when you run it for a certain amount of time, this is what it turns out to be like.
Wow.
Is this nice caramely like texture.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this.
I know. So we're gonna add a nice size tablespoon over the top.
This is a little more turtling of the
Yes,
turtles.
exactly.
And then you've got the mixture. You've
I
got
do.
pecans, coconut, and chocolate chips.
Yeah.
Do those go on
Yep,
top too?
Go ahead and sprinkle
All right.
a generous amount over the top of each one.
I can help with that.
Perfect. There we have it. So that's all we have to do. Now they're ready for the oven.
All right.
So we're gonna go put these in the oven at 350 degrees and they take about 20 minutes.
Perfect.
So we'll stick those in.
And while those are baking, we do have the finished product here. And these have fully cooled, and you like to kind of hurry that process along, right?
Well, after they sit out on the counter for a little while, I like to just stick them in the fridge. It's very fudgy, as you're gonna notice. So these are it's one of those recipes that you don't wanna overbake because you wanna keep that nice fudgy inside. So I just stuck them in the fridge for maybe like 10 minutes or so, and then they set up really nicely.
All right.
And you can see how easily those papers pulled off.
Yep.
So,
Well, I am dying to try this.
all right.
All right, I can already tell how fudgy it is.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. So that's a nice dark chocolate brownie. I would never know there are black beans in here. I would never know that there was no refined sugar either. This is fantastic. It's really delicious. Great textures too with the pecans in there and the coconut. Wow. Chef Brandy, thank you.
You're welcome.